the emotions of last year at the MCG as well?
Yeah, there's a bit of talk about it. Took its time, didn't he, after what we're used to. So I think I still think he bowled exceptionally well in the first innings, and I think we think of Scott Boland, the impeccable lengths, and I think he produced those throughout the first innings, and then today he got the rewards for those impeccable lengths. So I mean, the ball to Brooks in particular, on the follow-up from the previous ball, I think that's him at his best, where he can sort of go either way, hits that right areas, and then he obviously got the LBW. So it was incredibly impressive.
Did that day sort of play out perfectly in terms of timings, how you guys hoped it would go today, have that burst tonight against them?
I think so. I think the 6 wickets in the first session was something that we didn't expect. We thought it was going to be a real battle, but I think the 2 run-outs was the real reason that we were able to get ahead in that manner. So I think the game progressed, and then it gave us that opportunity to try and set up this last sort of 15 to 20 overs. And everyone talks about when they come to an Adelaide Test that this is the time to bowl, this is when things happen, whether it's pace or spin. And so we're lucky enough, we're fortunate enough that we bowled so well in that first session to be able to set it up.
Can I just ask as well about Cam Green? I know today's innings he came in sort of a tempo for a declaration, but he's sort of had a new challenge the last few weeks of not having a lot of time in the middle. I don't know what you've sensed from being around the team, but he feels like a guy who likes to bat, basically. Is this a new challenge that Cam's going to have to face now that he's a multi-format, and B, there's not a lot of shield cricket to go back to in terms of how to find that rhythm?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to phrase it. It's a new challenge, and I think the thing that we've learnt with Cam pretty quickly is that once he experiences a challenge, he learns pretty quickly from it. And I think it was tough for him not being able to bat through that Perth Test match. There was a lot of sitting around, a lot of waiting, and that's not always the case. And then he got another dose of it in this Test match. So I think he's really starting to understand what it means to bat number 6 and to deal with different experiences and be exposed to those different things. So I just think he'll learn pretty quickly from everything.
Just on that, on the bowling, is that Adelaide grass sort of a little bit sort of tufty so that it does grab the seam, and that's what makes both Boland and Lyon difficult to face?
100%, and I must admit I'm learning a lot from the guys and Andrew McDonald around their experiences with the pink ball test, and I think that's exactly it. To allow that pink ball to stay relatively new compared to other surfaces, that length of grass really assists the ball to keep it shine and allow it to seam round and also to spin. So I think you see that particularly after the heavy roller. I think it sort of that dampens it down a bit. Once it springs back to life, then you get to see the pink ball and what it does because of that tuft of grass. I think it's around 10 mils or something like that. But I think the Adelaide wicket in particular seems perfect for the pink ball test match.
Dan, I mean, nothing against the West Indian attack, but South African attack is obviously of the highest standard. So considering you just have a few next sessions between now and then, how do you prepare for that step up?
It's me standing on top of something and throwing with getting ready for Marco. Look, I think there's obviously a lot of conversations around the South African team. We understand that this is an important series and we obviously want to do it really well, but that pace bowling attack has been exceptional for a period of time, and their spin bowlers as well. I think underestimate Harmer and Maharaj, you're going to get yourself in trouble. So potentially only one of them will play, but that four-prong pace attack is what we're expecting, and we understand that they all bring something different. So there will be conversations pretty quickly, and the batting group is very in depth around their preparation. And like I said, I think you'll see a lot of work on short ball, a lot of work on pace, left arm, and also bearing in mind their spin bowling attack.
Nathan Lyon has just gone past Shane Warne in this Test match to be the leading wicket taker on this ground, and he's 1 wicket away from 450 Test wickets, which is remarkable. Given your great experience as a spin bowler yourself, what qualities do you see in him that he's been able to have those incredible achievements?
Well, I mean, many people have talked about it, but I think he's got the best stock ball I've seen in spin bowling, and I think that ability to repeat it, to ask so many questions, to have the pace on the ball, the top spin, which allows the drift and the spin, and now he's trying to add to that repertoire. I think you saw a couple of balls, sort of a side spinner, where he's been able to master that as well. But I think it just comes back down to the fact that the ball that he bowls, his stock ball, is so consistent, so repetitive, and asks so many questions. And like myself as a spin bowler, I would have loved to have had that ball, and I think you hear other spinners around world talk about it and say that's the ball that they admire the most. They try to replicate it, try to repeat it, but he's been the only one who's been able to do it for such a long period of time.
We saw Pat having a ball this morning on the score, this afternoon on the square before play. How's he tracking, and how's his sort of vibe heading into Brisbane?
Yeah, he's tracking very well. I think this was the first bowl. I think he probably got to about 75%, and then the plan is for him to bowl day 5 again, probably hopefully at close to full as possible, and then hopefully it's a normal build up for him leading into that Brisbane Test match.
Dan, just going back to today's batting, and I'm not a batting coach, but there were comments made in commentary from Ponting suggesting that questioning what the tactics were from Australia, and especially sort of the slogfest, so to speak, and whether that could potentially dent a guy like Cameron Green's confidence after the first innings. Do you think that's a fair question to be asked by Punter in that sense, or do you think that, given the circumstances, it was a common sense tactic?
I think once again it's one of those another learning experiences for Cam, and I think in a lot of ways it was admirable that he had the first innings where I think it was 9 off 42, and then today he came out and realised the situation. We were looking for quick runs, and he was prepared to play in a manner that suited the team. And I think there's a lot of respect for him that he was able just to go out there and play that game, particularly on the back of tough first innings, and like we mentioned, he hasn't had a bat for an extended period of time. So, look, I think in a lot of ways the team or himself were pleased with the way he went out there and just took the game on and put the team first.
Daniel, not so much this summer, but looking forward to India, do you think Travis Head's left arm spin can play?
I'd love him to bowl left arm spin. That would be the dream if Travis bowled left arm spin. But
sorry, yeah.
it's like the other arm.
The other arm, yeah. His spin bowling, do you feel that can play a crucial role in India? And what work have you done with him? Have you seen him improve from a part-timer to maybe a bit more than that?
Well, I think the thing we underestimate with Travis, he's actually bowled a lot. He's bowled a lot in first-class cricket. He's bowled a lot in white ball cricket. So he has a heap of experiences. So when I talk to him, it's quite an easy conversation because he's done a lot of bowling. It's not like he's new to it. So I think the main thing for him is trying to keep on top of his action, because he actually spins the ball, he gets good drift, and he puts a lot on it. So for him, it's keeping him interested and excited about bowling. And I think when you talk about Sri Lanka and Gaul when he bowled and he did so well, and then that can transition into India as well, and it gives us just more and more options. And I think that's the key when you get to that part of the world, because it can be difficult at times for one spinner. So if you have the other layers, whether it's a second spinner or even into a third spinner, it makes a huge difference. And I think Marnus, that applies to Marnus as well, his ability to bowl leg spin.
What are you seeing from David Warner's batting, in the nets and out there in the middle at the moment? It's had some starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are the ups and downs of a Test opener's career, and I think you see him working hard, you see him looking good in the nets, and probably up until his dismissals, he looks very good as well. So I think he's a guy who works exceptionally hard on it, and I know he puts the time in, but he also understands that these things happen, and particularly when there's so many runs around him, it can be frustrating and I suppose a little bit disheartening, but he seems as normal as ever.